How's it going, everyone? I hope you're all keeping well, and welcome back to a new video here today for round 3 of the RTA Virtual Motorsport F4 Championship sponsored by Motorsport.ie. If you did miss the previous video of this championship, which was round 1 around Interlagos, make sure you give that a watch before we get into this one. I didn't race in round 2 around Donington Park, and after looking at the live stream I think I kind of dodged a bullet there. Very wet conditions which seem to wreak havoc in these cars, but that's in the past here now, and we are here in Austria for round 3, and a bit of a strange one for this race, as you might have been able to tell from the thumbnail. I didn't have my usual setup to race for this one at home, as I was away for work for the week, and I decided I would just bring my wheel and my PC with me just to give myself something to do in the evenings in the hotel room, and it meant that I was able to take part in this race as well then. It does mean I wasn't entirely comfortable with racing. Obviously you get used to the setup that you're used to, and switching it up can lead to a few issues, but luckily I didn't feel too off and I was still able to drive somewhat decently. Or at least we might be able to see that. We might not be able to see that later in this video as well. But heading into this one then, not really going to show too much of qualifying, because I kind of realised that I'm not great at qualifying and it's just not very interesting at the start of these videos. So just going to look at the results from that session here now, and you can see I ended in P21, just over a second behind pole position of Jason Smith, the only person in the 131s around Spielberg. A very close session both at the front and down around near the back of the grid where I am. Only 100th of a second separating myself, Sergey in P20 and Brian in P22. So hopefully that will mean that we can have some nice close battles here today. But getting ready to go green here for race 1 from P21, so going to be important to just take it nice and easy on this opening lap and make sure I do survive. So the lights go out and get a pretty decent start, which I seem to have been getting in this car so far in this championship. But unfortunately we're a bit too far back, and turn 1 can be a bit too chaotic to try and make too many moves here. Luckily everybody gets through safely by the looks of it. I think we've made up one position, as now we're fighting in the slipstream of, I think that is Finley in the red car ahead, side by side with Kevin on our right hand side, heading up the hill into what is officially turn 3. Braking on the outside line just to try and keep it nice and safe, as Brian in the blue and yellow car behind goes for a bit of a dive down the inside, being very aggressive here on the opening lap. Luckily we get a better exit out of that kind of hairpin turn into the slipstream of Kevin, down the hill into turn 4. Kind of thinking about having a look, but not really, just kind of keeping the inside line, more of a defensive measure from Brian behind, as I thought he might have gone for a move there, basing it off what he kind of went for in turn 3. But anyway, we've survived so far, and now just skipping along a bit towards the end of the opening lap. Finley goes a bit wide through the second to last corner, and then into the final corner, going a bit wide again, and that kind of compromises Kevin's exit, and we get a good run in his slipstream. I wasn't really going to go for a move, but when he left the outside line open to fend the inside, I decided I would try and make a move around the outside of turn 1. It doesn't really work. Kevin kind of drives out towards the apex, make a bit of contact, but luckily we don't have any damage there. Could have gone very badly, could have either took my front wing off or sent Kevin into a spin. Up the hill then, decide to just let him go for now, stick in the slipstream, settle into this race and see if we can get some moves done later on. But just a little bit later on lap 2 into turn 6, you can see smoke ahead. I see cars going all over the place, and unfortunately I was trying to slow up just to avoid whatever was happening. Unfortunately locked the rears, I think, and just lost the back end and went for a spin. Had to wait then for all the cars behind to go past me, because I wasn't in a great position to try and rejoin. So unfortunately lost a lot of places there. We're after gaining 2 more back, with a couple of drivers having a few issues, and when we crossed the line at the end of lap 2 we were down in P25, so we lost 5 spots in total because of that bit of a spin, which isn't great, but luckily just a lap later we were after catching back up to this group of 5 cars, I think it is, who were battling very heavily, so we're able to catch back up, make a big contact with Emma Dempsey there, who kind of went off the track and just didn't have a great run. Went to the second last corner, it was side by side with Emma. I think that was Jacob Hobbs who was going to go into the pits, and then Martin McGonigal was on my outside, so I think we might have been 4 wide there kind of for a little bit, just caught in the middle of a car going into the pits and going slowly. But side by side with Martin then through the final corner, that's allowed David Prunty to get a good run on the pit straight into turn 1. I give him the inside line and focus on getting a good exit out of turn 1 on the run up the hill into turn 3, which you managed to do now side by side, just pulling ahead with the inside line through the kink of turn 2 and then bringing up into turn 3. Wasn't too confident on where to brake on the inside line here, so could have broke a bit earlier I think, or sorry, a bit later I think. Managed to get the move done for now, but David, kind of like I did in turn 1, focusing on his exits, got a bit of a slipstream down the hill. Now he has the outside line once again, I'm on the inside line. Felt a bit more confident into turn 4 on the inside, and we managed to hold that position for now, getting a good exit and keeping that place. I think that's P22. So gained a couple of more places. I think there was a few cars in the pits from an incident a bit further ahead, and now just trying to catch back up on a few cars that are directly ahead of us for the remainder of this race. And at the start of the very next lap, through turn 1, unfortunately for Emma, she just gets on the curb there and goes for a spin, so we get another place. And then we skip ahead to the end of the race because nothing else really happened. And we're going to come across the line to finish race 1 in P70.
Chicken flag, chicken flag.
So P17 it was then in the end, around 30 seconds behind the winner, Jason Smith, winning race 1 from pole position. I think considering I had that spin during this one, moving up 4 places from where I started is a pretty decent result. I do think there was probably more on offer in this one, but I have to take what I can get after that mistake, and obviously a bit of an improved position from what I should be in because of a few incidents from some of the faster lads up ahead. But have to take what I can get, and hopefully we can improve once again up another couple of spots from P17 in race 2. So getting ready to go now in race 2. Lights are on and lights go green. Once again get a pretty decent start and pull alongside with the car on my right hand side. Again on Derma just ahead. Into turn 1 taking it nice and easy, but there is a spinner up ahead and I didn't know where the cars were going, so I wasn't taking any chances. Completely bailed to the runoff area there to avoid anything that was happening on the inside and to avoid any cars that might have been spinning across the track. Did get a slow down for that avoiding action, but I think with how close we are now, I'm going to be able to just get rid of that by going through turn 3. Big contact there, don't really know who that was. Car on the inside was sent spinning. Just about managed to avoid that luckily and gain that place there. Heading down into turn 4 now, I noticed that behind was Jordan Kelly, one of, if not the quickest driver in this league. So decided that I knew this wasn't my race to try and battle him, so just gave him the inside line and let him go past, and I was hoping that what is happening right now would happen. There's some of the guys ahead who would start battling with John and allow us to catch up and maybe get a few places. We're heading up into turn 1. Tony, I think he must have had a slow down or something. There's no other reason for him to go that slow into that corner. And it just meant I kind of got stuck behind him and allowed Theo to go around my outside into turn 1. Again, one of the quicker guys, so not really my race. And then once again down into turn 4, Rory O'Shea now behind him. Championship leader at the time going into this round of the championship. A fellow Wexford man, so I decided to let him go past as well. Again, not wanting to try and destroy either of our races by battling somebody who I just have no real business battling with. But unfortunately, into turn 1, I had managed to keep with Rory for the rest of that lap. But through turn 1, I just get a bit of a slide and I get collected by, I think that was Sergey. And then unfortunately I can get collected by somebody else. To be fair, I was kind of just stopped on the apex,
You've got some
but I
damage.
held my
Let's fix
brakes,
that.
which was the right thing to do. Don't want to be rolling across the track. But unfortunately, some of the drivers behind weren't very observant of their spotter telling them there was a car stopped and taking avoiding action. And that was the end of my race. I did get a tow back to the pits and I did try and rejoin the race just to get a bit more practice. But for some reason, when I pressed race after the tow was done and the car was repaired, I just wasn't able to leave the pit box, which was unfortunate, but I wasn't going to really make up anything else in this one either way. So just had to sit around for a little while and prepare for race 3. But first look at the results from race 2. Jason Smith once again winning from pole position. So he won the first 2 races here, which I think he did last week in Donington as well. He wasn't able to complete the hat trick last week, so maybe he'll be able to do it this time out. Obviously a bit trickier with the reverse top 8, so he'll be starting from P8, have to work his way back up. See Jordan Kelly there, who we let pass on lap 1, gained 16 positions in that race up to P5. And then down in P21 is Sergey, who I think was unfortunate and hit us first when we had that spin. So he was able to get somewhat of a decent result, and it just shows that we were around where he was. He probably got some damage from that, so it was a bit slower. So we could have maybe finished a few places up from P21 in this race if we hadn't had that spin. It's all ifs and buts, and now we'll just have to put our head down and try and recover this from way down the back of the grid in race 3. So for the final time here from the hills of Austria, and hopefully for the final time from my makeshift sim racing setup, the lights go out and we are underway. Right down the back of the grid, only one car behind us, and because of that we're going to take it nice and easy on this opening lap. Obviously not really going to gain too much unless there's a few incidents which we want to avoid. Taking it very cautiously through turn 1, and luckily there was no chaos like there was in race 2 on this occasion, or at least not yet, because it seems really that every corner around this track is just a cauldron for chaos, and that's amplified even more in cars like these where slipstream is so strong. Into turn 3 there was some kind of a lock-up and a bit of a check-up. Luckily we didn't run into the back of, I think it's Martin just ahead of us, who really had to step on the brakes to avoid the car ahead of him. But the chaos didn't stay away for too long, as just later on the opening lap, a lot of cars out in the gravel, there's a lot of smoke. We gained a few places there. Emma Dempsey comes back onto the track there, probably wasn't the safest rejoin. Kind of see it coming from a mile away that she was just going to come back onto the racing line, as anyone really would there in that situation. So we were able to just back off and yeah, just not cause any crash there, as she goes very wide out of the final corner, or out of the second last corner into the final corner, and again wide out of the final corner. So I feel like that was probably a slowdown there, going off experience from practice. Seems that if you go too far wide through the last corner you get a slowdown. Tried to set up the exit to get a run up the hill, didn't get as good of an exit as I was hoping for, but we were still well within slipstream range, and as I just mentioned, slipstream is very strong in these cars. So pulled to the inside for turn 3, braking as late as I dare and giving a lot of room on the exit. Unfortunately the outside line is probably better around there. You can get on the power much earlier and carry more speed down the straight to stay ahead, which was the case on this occasion, and we remain behind in, I think it's P28, as into turn 4. David goes for a very ambitious look as there's more chaos happening ahead, cars everywhere, Emma trying to avoid them and half blocking himself into turn 6 around the outside of Jacob Hobbs. Very good move that we're probably going to see a few more times in this race. A bit of a slide there, so wasn't able to get on the power and get the move completed to get it done into turn 7, as Jacob has a bit of a moment, I think, goes off into the gravel. I think now we're up into P26. Starting lap 3 then, still behind Emma, and this time we're going to get a much better exit than we did on the previous lap. Yeah, much better run. Don't get much of a slipstream because of our extra speed, so we have to pull alongside earlier than I would have liked. But because of that, we're able to get the outside line, which I saw on the last lap seemed to be the better one of the two.
Clear.
We're able to brake much later, carry the speed around the outside, get a good exit and get that move done. So now up into P25, so it's going pretty well so far as we now skip ahead a bit down into turn 4. Another car there after going for a spin. Just about managed to avoid him there. It was a lot closer than it looked when I was driving and had to really adjust my line at the last minute to get around him. Start lap 4 then we're after catching up to Mark McGonigal. We're up into P23 now, so again another place I think, including the one that we gained on Luke. But in the slipstream now behind Mark, and once again we're going to have to go for the inside line into the hairpin of turn 3. Braking really late there and we managed to actually get the move done. But once again, outside line, Martin is able to get the switch back and get a run on us. So we're going to be side by side down the hill into turn 4. We are just about ahead, and with this line we're going to be able to brake wherever we want really. So braking a bit later than usual, leaving the space on the inside. Another car to go for a spin, so up another place as we're side by side through turn 5 and now into turn 6. Have the inside line, so should be able to get this move done, which we do. Not too much grip on the outside line there, and we don't have a slide this time, and we get convincingly done. Skip ahead then to the end of lap 5. We're after catching up on Shane Henry, who is now just ahead, well within slipstream range. As through the final corner, another car going for a spin. I think that was Sergey who we had that unfortunate incident with in the previous race. The final race. Move up another place there, and trying to set up Shane for another move into turn 3. Trying to get a good exit out of the first turn. Don't get a great exit compared to Shane. We're still within slipstream range. To fast forward here now, not able to get close enough into turn 3. We get a good run through that hairpin, and we're very close going down the back straight in the slipstream and on the outside line into turn 4. Again, braking really late, like we did with Mark around the outside. No car spin in front of us on this occasion, unfortunately, and once again we're side by side. Not as far ahead, we're actually a bit behind Shane on this occasion, but with the inside line, be able to just about get the move done. A bit of contact there, which really just a bit of race and contact. Both of us coming together in the middle, and we managed to get that move done, for now at least. Skip ahead onto the next lap on the run up into turn 3. Through turn 1, on most occasions I wasn't getting a great run, was where I was losing the majority of my time compared to the quick drivers at least. So it meant that Shane was able to get around us there, and through turn 3 I go way too wide on the exit and hit the curb and don't get a good run. We're now side by side into turn 4. Once again on my favoured outside line through this turn. Braking late, keeping it side by side through the apex of the corner, and once again side by side through turn 5 and into turn 6. Hopefully we won't make any contact this time, but the inside line is king here, and we managed to get the move done. Or at least I was hoping I was after getting the move done, but just a lap later, again, Shane is right behind us and into turn 3. I get on the curb while I'm braking a bit too much, lock up and go wide, and Shane managed to get that place. We're in the slipstream now, and there's a lot of cars behind us who are after catching back up. So on the run down into turn 4, I decided that I wasn't going to fight him on this lap, but just going to try and work with him to try and pull ahead of the cars behind. And then maybe for the last 2 laps, if it's just the 2 of us, we can fight it out for P19, but still every position and every point counts in the championship. But at the end of lap 8, yeah, good run out of the final turn, and Brian McCarthy behind me gets an even better run. So it's kind of a case of pass or be passed, as we nearly got 3 wide there into the first turn. So yeah, I didn't really want to go for this move or try and go for this move. Kind of forced into it because I didn't want to lose any more positions. It's on the run out of turn 1,
2 wide,
3 wide there, almost 4 wide, and make a big contact on the straight. Luckily everybody survives to fight another couple of laps anyway, hopefully till the end
Clear,
of the race
right side.
nobody ends up on any serious issues. Brian gets the move on the
Clear on the
inside
right.
there. Unlike the previous laps where it was just myself and Shane, and I was able to take the outside line any way I wanted. When there's more cars involved, there's more cars to look out for into turn 4. I could have tried
Right
to have a
side,
look down the
clear.
inside of Brian there, but just like previously, just kind of want to settle into the line and let everything maybe calm down a bit before we start fighting again. That didn't last long either. It's the start of the next lap.
Clear on the left.
Everybody's fighting once again, and Sergey, I decided to let him go there because it looked like it was going to be 3 or 4 wide into turn 1, which wasn't going to end up well for somebody. At least one person was going to end up being spun around there. Took a business decision and made sure it wasn't me that was going to be the one on the wrong end of that.
Left side.
And then skipping ahead, we're now on lap 11. Just 1.5 laps to go. Still battling very hard. And into turn 6.
Side.
Ryan is going to just lose the rear end, and unfortunately I just didn't go wide enough to avoid him there. Just hit his back wheel as he was going for a spin, and after damaging my suspension. So with the meatball flag, we're going to have to come into the pits and get it repaired. And even though there's only 2 laps left, I think if I tried to drive this damage, I would end up crashing out anyway. But with fast repairs in RTA, luckily we don't lose too much. Rejoin the race in P20 with now just about 1.5 laps left. And on the final lap of the race, it just kind of sums up the round that was for me. Through turn 6 I start to get a bit of a slide. I kind of save it but have to go into the gravel, lose all kind of momentum. Andrew gets past me and then with gravel on my tyres through turn 7 I go for another spin. Luckily, Dylan behind, who's had his own issues in this race, was too far behind to catch me and get past, so we lose 1 position and finish race 3 P21. So P21 it was in the end, over a minute behind the winner, who was Sean McClemens, who denied Jason Smith of his hat-trick. He must have had some kind of issue himself, finishing down in P19. Still made up 4 places in that race, which isn't terrible, but I think there was definitely a lot more to gain from that race. Sergey, who we were fighting with, finishing up in P16, and I think there was a couple of more places we could have made up in this race if it hadn't been for the issues we'd had and our bad starting position. But looking at the standings now after these races, we were in the negative points after our penalty in round 1. Didn't take part last time in round 2, and now after round 3 we're just about into positive in points with a grand total of 7 and down in P31 in the standings. So still have a target of top 15 in this championship. So a lot of work to do in the remaining rounds to try and achieve that, but I feel like my pace is good. I just need to focus on trying to get some consistency and iron out the mistakes and try and not and get involved in other people's incidents as well. Jason Smith takes the championship lead after this one. A difficult round for Rory O'Shea, who drops down into P3. But it's very close at the top, with P1 and P2 separated by just 1 point. And then even down around the back where I am, very close. With just 1 good result, could see it jump up a lot of places. That's it for this video and this round of RTA. Round 4 next week is at Road America, one of my favourite tracks in the world, so hopefully we can try and use that to my advantage and get some good results there. But if you enjoyed this one, make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you go. And until the next one, slán go fóill agus fé go maith.